You can ask different people, what is the meaning or what is the purpose of martial arts? And with different people, you're going to get a wide range of different answers. A lot of people will say for self-defense purposes, others will say for like fitness, or different people sometimes say for discipline or self-betterment. You know, some people put their kids in martial arts so that they behave better, and some people just have a combination of these answers. And I'm not making this video to call anybody's reasonings invalid. I just wanted to make this video to talk about a simple concept that's been on my brain for quite a while, and I just want to verbalize it and see if something sticks. So imagine with me, if you will, I don't have something to illustrate this one, so just use your imagination that you have a hose and you're trying to water plants and there's not a lot of water coming out, and you realize that near the end of the hose is a small leak that's contributing to some of the pressure loss. And you call some people together, some of your neighbors or friends that you know have good technical knowledge and can help you try to patch this leak or fix it just so you can have full pressure of that water flowing. But then upon further investigation, you trace the hose all the way back to the source and you realize that the other end of the hose that's supposed to be screwed into the water spout is not screwed in properly, and there's a much bigger breach in the circuitry of the hose, and you're losing a ton more water right at the source. While you think about that, I want to bring this analogy over to the actual topic that I want to discuss today involving martial arts. We practice and train and teach martial arts, and in a majority of those arts, we spend a lot of our time practicing self-defense, specifically self-defense against somebody that's trying to attack you, or somebody that you care about, or somebody that you're just in the vicinity of, and you're trying to put a stop to this threat. I've said in some of my other videos that that's not the only form of self-defense. You can also practice self-defense against the elements of the world, things that aren't necessarily malicious to you, but that can still pose a danger to you, just tripping over something and falling. That's still self-defense in my opinion. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to be focusing on those people that are intentionally trying to attack you or hurt you in some way. So to me, in my personal opinion, teaching self-defense techniques and preparing people for these types of attacks is patching that leak that's at the end of the hose where you're holding it, that small leak that's just going to help you alleviate a little bit of that pressure loss. That's your women's self-defense courses, or those one-time self-defense seminars where you just go once to get like a crash course in whatever self-defense that you're practicing, instead of devoting years and years of commitment to training that. And please don't misconstrue my message here, because I think those things are vital and important, and we should not stop doing those, and they serve a very important role. I think that that leak at the end of the hose is still very important for us to fix. Because we can't control our external environment to every extent, you don't know what's going to happen to you or when or where, so you just have to make sure that you're prepared in every way that you can. But my point here is I don't just want to hone in on that one specific aspect. I do want to focus on that breach in the hose that's happening at the very source. And in this example, that source is those people that grow up to be these people that attack others. And you might say we have enough common sense laws in place, and we've done everything that we can do to prevent these crazy people from doing the things that they do. And the best thing we can do is just prepare ourselves. But I would ask you to think just a little deeper than that. To me, martial arts is a lot of things, but the most important thing that it is, in my opinion, is a development of the next generation. And I would stretch that out further and say that anything that deals with kids in the next generation, teachers, counselors, coaches, things like that, are just the most important thing that we have. If you want to leave a legacy behind when you are no longer on this earth, the most impactful thing that you can do is impart wisdom and spend time and invest in the next generation, because they're the ones that are going to be here when we no longer are. What I'm saying is martial arts programs are one of the many avenues that we have to provide a haven for children and give them something to attend and to set goals in, so that they have ways to achieve good things in their life. We as martial arts teachers, and I think adults in general, have a responsibility to invest and to provide resources for these children to have something growing up, because unfortunately not every child has an equal upbringing, and sometimes they have really harsh conditions, and unfortunately sometimes that can lead them to do negative things later in their life. And I actually finally did a little bit of research, so I do have a statistic here to back up the things that I'm saying. This is an article on the cycle of violence from the Office of Justice Programs, and I think it's a really interesting read. I'm going to have it linked in the description if you want to take a look at it. I would suggest it. It talks about neglect and abuse of children and how that can affect them as they get older. This article is talking about arrests and also violent crimes of people that were abused and neglected as children, and the article goes into more detail on how it develops a metric of how they figure this out. But the point is, it says the abused and neglected cases were younger at their first arrest. Their mean age was 16.5 years versus 17.3 years. They committed nearly twice as many offenses. Their mean was 2.4 versus 1.4. And they were arrested more frequently. 17% of abused and neglected cases versus 9% of comparison cases had more than 5 arrests. So I'm just saying that neglecting or mistreating kids is contributing to this problem of violence and the issues that we're having nowadays. And what we can do as teachers, in addition to teaching these kids curriculums and showing them how to use a pair of nunchucks and giving them new belts, is to just be a person that's there for them and to look out for them. And sometimes you can notice when something's wrong and you can bring that up. Kids have a lot going on with them. They have a lot of emotions that they don't know how to deal with sometimes, or how to express. They have things going on in their life that doesn't always make sense to them. They're constantly changing as they grow rapidly at a young age. And sometimes all they need is someone to just listen to them and someone to just take a moment to be there for them. And you might not have all the answers or be able to solve whatever problem's going on in their life. But like I said, being there for them sometimes makes all the difference in the world. I think that instilling the right values and constantly being a positive influence in these kids' lives in great numbers can have a significant impact on statistics like these. And we can prevent a lot of these issues that happen in today's world by bringing up the next generation in a better way than that we were brought up. So do I think that we don't need to teach any more self-defense and we don't need to do all these courses, that we're focusing on the wrong thing? No, that's not the case. My answer is not we should focus on this instead of this. I think that we just need to focus on both of these things. And I think sometimes we do neglect this big breach that I was talking about at the source of the hose, because these problems down the line, this leak at the end of the hose, is something that stems from the source. And no, there are other factors that contribute to violent crimes and attacks and things like this. It's not just someone that was neglected. But I think we have the tools available, and like I said, I think it's a responsibility that we have to devote what we can into preventing some of this negativity. But like I always say, let's do a better job of listening to each other instead of always criticizing each other and picking out the things that someone else is doing wrong. We can always learn something from somebody else, even if we feel like we're superior to them. In the first place, we shouldn't feel superior to anybody. But the point is, everybody that we come across has something that they can offer us, and we should be more open to receive it. The next generation learns from the things that we do, and they will mimic the behaviors that they see. So we need to do a good job of being good examples so that they can come up the right ways and be positive influences to society, not just when they're at an older age, but right now. Now is the time. Please leave a comment below if you have any thoughts you want to add to this. I think this is a great discussion. And again, check out the article that I linked in the description. It's very eye-opening, and I would recommend you take a look at it. As always, thank you guys for watching, and keep training.